obviously you've been pretty fucking consistent with the work that you've put in, and we kind of want to pick away your mindset as to how you've been able to accomplish that.
So I think a big thing with me and that helps me go is most of the work is just showing up every day. Like when you get up and you get out and you're running, like you did a lot of the job already. Like you're already out doing it. And like I see a lot of people talk about the difference between motivated and driven. Is motivated, you're doing it for a couple of days, to where driven, it doesn't matter if it's raining out, snowing out, whatever, you're going to find a way to get the work in regardless. And it's the same with the gym or anything else. Like it's about building up that habit to where it bothers you if you don't get to do it.
Yeah, I love that.
Making it a lifestyle.
Exactly.
Things like with discipline and stuff, people think it's like, oh, I got to do something that I don't want to do. But it's really just like, you just have to do what's right and do what's the right thing that you need to do towards your goals. It's not about having discipline. It's about doing what's right in the moment, even if you feel like it or not.
Yes. And the other thing, too, is I think you have to find a way to make it fun for yourself in a way to where, like, you're constantly challenging yourself to things that you never thought you'd be able to do. Like, for instance, like, when I first started training for my marathon, I did an easy run, and I was just doing it. I was like, oh, let me get up the marathon pace for it. And I was so wiped out at the end of the mile. I said, I don't know how I'm going to be able to do this for 26.2 miles. Like, that felt hard now, but it was the consistency of showing up every day, regardless if I wanted to do it, regardless of the weather, like you said, or whatnot. And it's like, you show up, you get that win in your head. You're already there, like there's no turning back, and you just make the most of it. And some days you'll have really good days, and some days you'll have really bad days. But what I see with people is they focus on the bad days too much, and instead of getting over it and getting to the next day and seeing how you feel, they just give up right there. It's like that's where you're testing yourself, and you just gotta shut off the way your brain's thinking and just push forward.
Something that's helped me is when those days where especially I work out, when I feel like shit and everything's going down south, I actually tend to enjoy those days the most because you know that feeling when you're finished is going to be the best of all workouts.
Yeah.
You go in there and you just have a good time. That's great and all. And you feel great. But when you know that shit's down south and you're going to get through this workout, if you do, it's one of the best feelings of all time. Especially when shit's down south. I don't know, that's something that just kind of helps me cope with the idea of just imagine that feeling when you finish that workout. Knowing what you're feeling right now is not wanting to do shit.
It's like the saying where they say you'll never regret a workout. Like when you're done. Like when you finish a workout and you have no injuries, you don't go, man, I wish I didn't do that. Like that's
you never say that.
Yeah, you never do. You're like, wow, I can't believe I did that. Like everything in my head was telling me no, and I got through it. Like I know a big thing through my training the first time my first block is, so the day after your long runs, you had a 5-mile easy recovery run where you don't have to meet no times. It's about strengthening your legs and getting the miles under you. But like you would be hurting so bad in certain areas, like your hips would be unbelievably tight, or like your back, your hamstrings would be hurting, like depending on how hard you went. And them 5 miles, I would just, in my head, it was like, okay, I don't care how bad this hurts or how slow I run it. Like there would be times where I would run like 9-minute miles, like on the first couple miles, just because my body was like so beat up, like I'm hobbling down the street. But when you're going for a goal like a marathon, you have to remind yourself, like, this is how you're going to feel in the last 10K of the race. Last 6 miles is where the race starts because you're in such pain. So like that, you have to take that mindset and be like, okay, if I could get through this is going to help strengthen my mindset for when I get to hurting spots during races.
Have you ever used Icy Hot in the last for a marathon?
No, I got this new thing. My wife bought it for me for Christmas. No free or advertisements, but it's called a Therabody Cube, and what it happens is it could strap to anywhere. So you could do like contrast therapy, like you could do cold hot, or you could just do cold, or you could just do heat to like whatever's hurting. So
But can't you do that in the middle of a run?
no, not really, because it would just fall off.
Yeah.
Like
So you
that
never
was-
used icy hot?
No,
Like,
never
in a
used
run?
it.
I feel like that helps so much.
Well, I mean, it's like you're training for a race, so it's like you can't just stop at a CVS during the race and like grab it. Like you got
Well, why wouldn't you just put it in the beginning of the race where you think it'd wear
You
off?
can. I don't know. I would think that the sweat would eventually just
Yeah, deteriorate.
get it off, but it's you're just preparing for that one day where anything can happen, and like people don't know about racing, but like it's hard because you set goals for yourself time wise or completing something, and it's you could have a bad day that day. Nothing's guaranteed. Like the weather could be bad. You could just have terrible sleep, and you train for 4 to 6 months and for that bad day. But to me, I constantly think about like I have the opportunity to do this. Like I think it's less than 1% of the world runs a marathon. So like now you're thinking to yourself like, okay, I didn't meet my goal, but I did something that less than 1% of people do.
It has to be like less than 0.1% of the world that actually runs a marathon.
It's a small amount, but it's like, so I think my sister sent this to me. It's less than 10% of the world run for exercise. And then out of that 10%, 1% of people race.
Oh.
And then out of that 1% of people do a marathon. And then like out of that 1%, 4% qualified to run Boston Marathon.
Yeah.
So like that's the small group you're talking about.
I'm gonna put you on the spot.
Go ahead.
If all 4 of us are running a marathon, who do you think is finished first? There's no
I
right
don't-
answer. Nobody
Yeah,
knows.
I don't really know because it's tough because I don't know like
I
your
gotta make a
physical case.
prediction, man. You gotta make
Oh,
a prediction.
I'm just guessing now.
How long
It's a really easy answer.
26.2 miles.
Okay.
He says it's a really easy answer.
Really easy. You're looking at him. There you
Okay,
go.
I'll go with my name
See?
over here. You know what I'm saying? If he has that confidence in himself, I have the belief, because confidence is key when it comes to running it, because, whether it's your training or whatever.
I'm the same guy that
think
started
you're
the
confident,
episode.
bro.
I'm the same guy that started the episode saying I can't run 2 miles.
Yeah, well, you build up to it. It's like
Nah, I'm
anything
playing.
else.
That was a joke. I can't, but please.
If your goal is to bench 300 one day, you don't walk in the gym and bench
Yeah.
250. Like, you probably start out at like 120 or something, doing reps with that, and then you slowly build.
I want to go back to one thing you said about making it fun, discipline, because personally, I believe that's the hack to overcoming discipline. It's literally just making that shit fun. Like, if we were to go back in time for a second, when we all started working out and starting like this exercise journey, you wouldn't look forward to going to AFC, or you wouldn't look forward to going to a NAC, whatever, right? And you're still a beginner and you're doing it 3 times a week. But skip time forward, okay, look where we are now. You actively want to go 6 days a week, to the point where you don't even want to fucking take a rest day, although you have to. But like, that's not discipline. We enjoy this shit. So if you can turn that into, like, somehow trick your mind into making it fun, that hey, I really like this running and I'm just gonna keep doing it and challenging myself, then you don't even worry about the discipline, dude. That just becomes a hobby.
For that kind of stuff.
I think a big thing I try to do is there's a hospital by my house, and like a lot of my routes I try and run past it, because like, listen, there's a lot of people that don't have the opportunity to do what we do, whether it's workout or run or whatever, and you think to yourself, sometimes we have this self-doubt, and like you almost feel bad for yourself, like, oh, I need a rest day or whatever, but like there's someone out there that would give anything to have that one day again. So like, I think you have to constantly be in that mindset of like, one day this is all going to end, and like this is a privilege we all have, and I think that you have to take advantage of that every chance you have, without hurting yourself or whatnot. But I think it's a privilege, just like anything else, that you are able to go to the gym or whatever it is. Like some days that gets you by work, like where you're working and you're just thinking about like, oh, I get to go to the gym after this, like.
Yeah, there's a big saying where I hear frequently that a bunch of like the elderly millionaires would give away all their money in an instant just to go back to their 20s, just to re-experience that.
Yeah.
And one of our following members here has a gratitude journal, and this is literally the perfect way to express like your gratitude for every other thing too.
I want to proudly say I hit 1,000 things now.
What were you at the last time? I thought you were at 80. Oh, you were at 800.
1,000, bro.
Okay.
That's cool.
So how did I got to ask you? I know I'm turning the interview around. Like, how does that work? Because like for me, what I try to do is I try to do it through prayer. Like before I go to bed, I make sure I think about all the things during the day and stuff like that. Like, does it just come to you and you write it down, or is there a special part of the day where you put aside and just be present?
Well, number one rule of the day, there's no right answer.
Okay.
I mean, you do you,
Yeah.
I do me, whatever works best
I'm
for me.
just curious.
Yeah, I know. I just want to state that. But for me, personally, every day in the morning, I like to kind of start my mind in a positive attitude,
Mhm.
try to challenge it and stuff. So in the morning, after I put on my clothes, I do my hygiene, sit down, and I write 3 things from the day before that I was grateful of.
Okay.
I try to not do anything repeating. Of course, it's gonna alternate, but just having that idea of trying to think of 3 things that, and if I can't really think of 3 things from that day, I just like to think of, for example, maybe I'll appreciate the trees, fuck's sake, or whatever it is, something simple in life that no one ever contemplates and says, huh.
I really love
So
that
that makes
because
sense.
I think that's where it brings you to the present. Like
Oh, yeah.
where like I heard a thing before. It was like if you focus on the future, you're going to give yourself anxiety. But if you focus on the past, you're going to depress yourself. So you have to try and remain in this present state.
Yeah, I do the
Yeah,
same.
man.
I do like prayers and stuff. I'm like praying to God like for the food, whatever, like all those little stuff before I go to bed. But I also write it down like at the end of the day, like before sleep, because that it's like a disciplinary action for me to constantly check up on myself, God, like all these things that I'm grateful for during the day. So it's like you can do both, but I think writing it down has so much more impact when you're there, and it's I don't know. That's how it works for me.
I love that. I might have to steal that from you.
Yeah. Because you can do both.
Yeah. It is nice though. I do because it really makes your problem seem that much smaller too. When you realize all that you're grateful for.
Right. And when you're writing it down, like more thoughts pop in your head, like the little things that happen in your day, and how grateful you can be for those stuff.
Those problems like go away. Sorry, what was
I'm
you
going to
saying?
touch up on something I looked into, which is kind of like a little mindset change to keep yourself consistent, which is trading immediate results with immediate alignment with core values. So, I mean, it's kind of simple to understand, but step number 1 is if you don't know exactly what you are aiming for in life, I think you should stop the video immediately and figure out what the fuck that is. Because that's going to be the root of staying disciplined. Because you're not going to stay disciplined if you have no direction in life, if you don't know where you're going to go with this. What makes the gym so easy for us to go to and for you to run is you have a reason to do it. Whatever that reason may be behind, you know it. So of course it's easy. You have that purpose behind you. So I think if you don't have a core value on why you do such thing that you want to get disciplined at, you should write that down. Like you said, writing shit down, you remember way much more. And maybe even write it every fucking day before you do it. Like, that would be a cool idea. Why not? Fucking do it. You got nothing better to do if you're failing. Try something new. And then once you write that shit down and you figure it out, how do I say? You repeat it in your head consistently while you're doing it.
Like before you go to the gym, you just take out a journal or something, or your phone, and you're writing down. Today I'm going to the gym because of that, because of this, because of that. It's like it's different every time. Sometimes there are days where I'm going to the gym because I don't feel disciplined or I don't feel motivated, but I'm like, okay, I'm disciplined to go to the gym, or there's some kind of goal that I want to hit that specific day, so I'm like, I have to go.
And
So it's different every day.
something outside of gym really, let's say you just want to get your work done. What this guy, the video that I watched, what he suggested is you're going to put on a piece of paper everything you do every hour, the thing you spent the most amount of time in that last hour doing, and does it align with your core value? If it doesn't, why the fuck are you doing it?